Pranam, please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join. Prabhuji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 2, Chapter 8, and today we are doing text 28, 29, and 2.9.1. But let us start with the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. So we'll read 28 and 29 first. After that, we'll go to the new chapter. 28. Prahara Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Sammitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit, that means Sukadeva Goswami, by saying that the science of the personality of the Godhead was spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is a supplementary Vedic literature, and it is just in the pursuance of the Vedas. Mother, you can read the purport.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the personality of God. The impersonalist always tries to misinterpret the personal feature of the Lord, not knowing the science of the great knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is in pursuance of the Vedas and scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. To learn this science, one should take shelter of the representatives of Sri Sukadev and follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Parikshit without foolishly attempting to interpret, thereby committing a great offense at the feet of the Lord. The dangerous way of interpretation by non-devotee class of men have played havoc in understanding the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the careful student should be always alert in this matter if he at all wants to learn the science of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
The main point is we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a Bhagavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Bhagavat Parigya Bhagavata Sthane. That means you should hear Bhagavatam in association of Bhagavatas, means devotees. Do not try to hear from a scholar or from professional reciter, but hear from someone who is a representative of Sukadeva Goswami. Text 29. Yat yat parikshit rishabha Pandunam Anuprichati Anupurvedena Tat Sarvam Akhyatum Upachakrame. Translation. He also prepared himself to reply to all that King Parikshit had inquired from him. Maharaj Parikshit was the best in the dynasty of the Pandus, and thus he was able to ask the right questions from the right person. You can read the purport, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maharaj Parikshit asked many questions, some of them very curiously, to know things as they are. But it is not necessary for the master to answer them in the order of the disciples' inquiries, one after another. But Sukhdev Goswami, experienced teacher that he was, answered all the questions in the systematic way as they were received from the chain of disciplinic succession, and he answered all of them without exception. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by King Parikshit.
So in this purport, the main point is when you are asking a question, then the question should also be in the interest of all the devotees. At the same time, not in a challenging way. And Sukadeva Goswami, who is on the seat of the Vyasa, he answered all the questions, not necessarily in an order, but by taking the essence of all the questions, he answered. And what are the answers are given in the next chapter. So this is the relationship between a guru and a shishya. A guru and a shishya, it means spiritual master and a disciple. We many times quoted this verse. Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnena seveya ubdakshanti tya jnanam jnanina tattva darshanam. One should approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively by rendering service. These are the three aspects of approaching the spiritual master. So all these three aspects can be seen in Maharaj Parikshit. He renders service to Sukadeva Goswami in a very humble way, in a very submissive way. And all the questions, if you study one by one, then each of these questions are asked in a very, with a lot of humility. And Sukadeva Goswami answers all his answers. Not only that, he even glorifies the questions of Maharaj Parikshit. He says each of your questions will do a lot of good or bring about benefit to all those who are hearing and understanding. So we will now, if anyone has any questions up to here, otherwise we go to the chapter 9. Any questions? Okay. 9th chapter, answers by citing Lord's verses. Now this chapter is a very important chapter, because as you read this chapter, you'll find so many things in this chapter, so many things that in this chapter, if I'm not wrong, are the root verses of Bhagavatam. Verse number 33, 34, 35, 36. Just like Bhagavad Gita had 4 root verses, chapter 10, 8, 9, 10, 11. The same way, the whole Bhagavatam, the root verses are in this chapter. Remember that. So those who are writing notes should write it, that from 33 onwards till 36, which have got very, very long purports, is the basis of the whole Bhagavatam. Okay? Text number 1. Shri Sukha Vacha Atma Mayam Rite Rajan Parashyana Anubhavata Atmana Na Gate Artha Sambandha Sapna Darshtu Ivanjasha. Translation. Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, O King, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working. Okay? Mother, you can read the purport.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maharaj Parikshit's question as to how a living entity began his material life, although he is apart from the material body and mind, is perfectly answered. The spirit soul is distinct from the material conception of life, and he is absorbed in such a material conception because of being influenced by the external energy of the Lord, called Atma Maya. This has already been explained in the first canto in connection with Vyasadev's realization of Supreme Lord and his external energy. The external energy is controlled by the Lord, and living entities are controlled by the external energy, by the will of the Lord. Therefore, although the living entity is purely conscious in his pure state, he is subordinate to the will of the Lord in being influenced by the external energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, also the same is confirmed. The Lord is present within the heart of every living entity, and all the living entities' consciousness and forgetfulness are influenced by the Lord. Now, the next question automatically made will be why the Lord influences the living entity to such consciousness and forgetfulness. The answer is that the Lord clearly wishes that every living entity be in its pure consciousness as a part and parcel of the Lord, and thus be engaged in the loving service of the Lord as he is constitutionally made. But because the living entity is partially independent also, he may not be willing to serve the Lord, but may try to become an independent as the Lord is. All the non-devotees, living entities, are desirous of becoming equally as powerful as the Lord, although they are not fit to become so. The living entities are illusioned by the will of the Lord because they wanted to become like him. Like a person who thinks of becoming a king without possessing the necessary qualification, when the living entity desires to become the Lord himself, he is put in a condition of dreaming that he is the king. Therefore, the first sinful will of the living entity is to become the Lord, and the consequent will of the Lord is that the living entity forget his factual life and thus dream of the land of utopia, where he may become one like the Lord. The child cries to have the moon from the mother, and the mother gives the child a mirror to satisfy the crying and disturbing child with the reflection of the moon. Similarly, the crying child of the Lord is given over to the reflection. The material world to the Lord is over as karmi, and to give this up in frustration to become one with the Lord. Both these stages are dreaming illusions only. There is no necessity of tracing out the history of where the living entity desired this. But the fact is that as soon as he desired it, it was put under the control of the Atma Maya by the direction of the Lord. Therefore, the living entity in his material condition is dreaming falsely that this is mine and this is I. The dream is that your conditioned soul thinks of his material body as I, or falsely thinks that he is the Lord, and that everything in connection with that material body is mine. Thus, only in the dream does the misconception of I and mine persist life after life. This continues life after life as long as the living entity is not purely conscious of his identity as the subordinate part and parcel of the Lord. In his pure consciousness, however, there is no such misconceived dream, and in that pure conscious state, the living entity does not forget that he is never the Lord, but that he is eternal, the servitor of the Lord in the transcendental love. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very beautiful purport, very philosophic. Gives you the exact Krishna conscious philosophy. Sri Prabhupada says, the verse first says that Sukadeva Goswami said, now this is a reply to the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, that O king means Maharaj Parikshit, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of this pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. That relation is just like the dreamer seeing his own body working. That means in this answer is a question, the relationship between living entity and the Lord, and why does it get influenced by the external energy of the Lord? So this is the reply. Srila Prabhupada says that a living entity begins his life, material life, and is apart from his material body and mind. That means material life is not real life, but he takes up a material life because he's forgotten his own constitutional position. For example, here, Srila Prabhupada says that he's so much absorbed in material consumption that he does not accept that he is different from this body. And this disease or this kind of illusion is there in practically everyone. So here it says that the spirit soul is actually distinct from the material conception of life. But because he's conditioned, he becomes trapped by Atma Maya, the Lord's external energy. The external energy covers the actual living entity's understanding, and he takes the body to be all in all. This is the influence or the strong influence of Krishna's, forgetfulness of Krishna. That verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna Bulya Jiva, Bhagavan Chakare, Pachati Japat Maya Kare, Japatiya Dare. In that verse, he says, upon forgetfulness of Krishna, the living entity gets beaten up or slapped by Maya. So this is the Maya which covers the living entity and makes him a conditioned soul. Now in the first canto already it's explained that Vyasdev, if you remember the verse, Vyasdev, when he was visited, I think it's the 5th chapter, when Narad Muni visited him because Vyasdev was in confusion. Not in confusion, but he was in a state of unsatisfaction. He had done so much work, offered so many scriptures, but yet he was not happy. And at that time, one need to remember one's spiritual master. Sometimes the disciple works very, very hard. And in many cases, or in some cases, he may forget the goal of life or why he's doing that service. In the similar way, Narad Muni, though Vyasdev had done so much work, imagine Vyasdev wrote so many scriptures. If you see, all the scriptures of the Vedas are written by Vyasdev by using his disciples to write down. So when all the scriptures were written, he was still not happy. Even up to Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is like the climax, Veda Anta. He wrote everything and put it in Vedanta, but it was so difficult to understand, and he simply forgot the sweetness. So at that time, Narad Muni explained to him that rather than doing good to people, you have done bad to people. Now people, when they read your books, they'll be only interested in karma kanda. Nobody will take up devotional service. So now, this is the missing part. Now you write what is good for the people. In fact, this is one of the questions asked by the sages. Explain to us what is good for everyone. Now, what is good for everyone is Krishna consciousness. There is no Krishna consciousness without bhakti. Krishna consciousness means bhakti, and there is no bhakti without the personal realization of Krishna. Till one doesn't understand Krishna as the person, then it's like wasting his time. He can't do bhakti. That's why you'll find Jnanis do not take bhakti, yogis do not take bhakti, even karmis do not take bhakti. But who takes bhakti? Those who have some favor of a pure devotee. Like us, all of us. We would have never heard Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita if Prabhupada had never given us these books or his lectures. We would have been in the same dream. So, Vyasdev was very intelligent. He understood what his guru, his spiritual master, told him. So he started meditating And in the meditation, the Lord appeared. That means Krishna appeared. But he saw someone else also. Can anyone guess who was with Krishna? It was not Radha. Who was it? Can anyone guess? When he got the darshan of Krishna, there was someone hiding behind. That was Maya. Maya was hiding behind Krishna. So Vyasdeva understood that those who don't surrender to Krishna will be captured by Maya, who is standing very close to her. But the same verse, it says, Maya was shy to come in front of Krishna or to even stand by side of Krishna. So one good point here, Srila Prabhupada says that Vyasdeva, in the first canto, he saw the realization of Krishna and his external energy. External energy means Maya. Now, it's a very good instruction you can get from here, is that if you don't accept Krishna, or if you don't worship God, you'll be forced to worship Maya or illusion, or the illusory energy, who is always with the Lord, but she hides behind. So further, another point Srila Prabhupada says that all the living entities are actually controlled by Maya. And what form does the Maya take? The Maya takes the form of Durga. That's why we are only in the jail of Durga. She's a superintendent. And you know that Durga has 10 hands, very, very powerful. She's also regarded as the sister of Krishna. Now, Durga only takes over you if you don't take Krishna. Otherwise, Durga will not touch you. She does the work of a policeman or a soldier for the government. So, living entity, though is pure, but because his consciousness is covered with materialism, Durga takes over. Yet Krishna makes it very clear in the 15th chapter, 15th verse, very, very powerful and very popular verse. Sarvasya chaham hridishan nipishto matha smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedese sarvam ahameva vedyo vedanta kritve videva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart. From me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known, and I am the complier of the Vedas. That's the meaning of this verse, 15:15. So if you know this verse very nicely, you'll come to know one thing, that Krishna does everything. He's the one who gives you knowledge. He's the one who gives you good memory, and it is him who makes you forget. So in other words, we are not independent. Rather become dependent on Krishna so that everything becomes okay. We should not forget Krishna, though he says he can make you forget. And how do we remember Krishna? By practicing devotional service. And the devotional service is kept strong by our regular utterance of Krishna's names. That is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This will make you remember. That doesn't mean that you become blind or crazy. No. With all the wisdom, with all the conviction, you chant Hare Krishna. So it says here, as soon as the living entity remembers Krishna, then everything becomes good. Next, the question is still to come, Srila Prabhupada says, will automatically appear. What makes a living entity forget his consciousness and take up the forgetfulness of Krishna? Why do people forget? It's due to the strong influence of Maya. Maya is so strong that it influences the jiva to forget Krishna. Because when there is some impurity in one's consciousness, in senses, in mind, in intelligence, that's the time she works and makes you forget. So, when a living entity, he remembers his actual consciousness. If you read the third canto, we'll be going to the third canto, part 4, Teachings of Kapila Muni. We find that a living entity, while in the womb of the mother, after 7th month, actually remembers Krishna in the womb of the mother. She even prays to Krishna, please, when I come out of here, I'll worship you. But does he do that? No. As soon as he comes out, the influence of Maya is so strong that he forgets everything. He even forgets that he was in the womb of the mother. Not only that, even after all these years, if I was to ask any one of you, do you remember that you were in the womb of your mother? I don't think anyone will say yes. We accept we were in the womb of the mother. And the womb of the mother is also considered to be a dark hell. Anda Tamishram. Anda means dark. Is also considered a hell. But having come out, the living entity wants to enjoy Maya to an extent that he considers himself to be the king or God. And you find that every living entity wants to do it like that. He wants to be the master of all that he surveys. Oh, all this is mine. I am the Lord. Let me enjoy. This is what the living entity does. And that's the time Maya becomes so strong that he dunks him in the water or in the darkness of a dark well. And he forgets. He completely forgets Krishna. Now he can't forget Krishna if he has a desire to remember Krishna. It's because his desires were turned towards darkness, towards enjoyment. He forgets Krishna. So what does Maya do? Maya gets him whatever he wants. Here Srila Prabhupada calls it the land of utopia, a dreamland. He wants to enjoy the dream. Prabhupada gives an example of a child. Maybe at night he tells the mother, oh, I can see the moon in the sky. I want that moon. So what does the mother do? She puts a mirror and the child can see the moon. And the child will feel, oh, the moon is with me. Even in Ramayana, it happened like that. Lord Ramachandra wanted to see the moon. And Mother Kausalya pleased him by bringing a plate of water and putting that plate in the moonshine. And Lord Ramachandra, he could see the moon. So in the same way, even if you dream, who helps you fulfill the dream is also Krishna. But at the same time, Krishna is a very kind father. He wants all of us to give up the illusion and come to the reality. And this only happens when you get an influence or an association of a pure devotee. Only a pure devotee can actually clearly tell you, this is real, this is illusion. If you can't make a distinction, you can't come out of this illusion. You'll stay in it. There are so many things we gather and we keep it in our hands. We don't want to give them up. And what is that? Is all asat, temporary things. But the day you give it up, that's it. If you give them up and let go, and you take up the feet, you can't just let go. You should also have something else to grab to. And that is the lotus feet of Krishna. So, in the material world, we remain in illusion. And due to the illusion, frustrations come one after another, one by one by one. And they all give you trouble. They can't give you happiness. You only take it as happiness, but really speaking, it is not happiness. Often Srila Prabhupada cites the example of a camel. A camel enjoys thorny leaves of a thorny branched tree. So as he eats the thorny branches, the leaves, the thorns actually cut his tongue. And the blood oozes out. So he thinks that the leaves are very tasty. And he likes to drink his own blood. In a similar way, when you chase an illusion, your senses become contaminated, lusty. And you think that you are enjoying, but you are wasting your time and your very blood. That's why the highest kind of pleasure is to enjoy sex life. And in sex life, a man loses, he doesn't win anything. It's a pleasure which is very short and it goes away. But he thinks that he has enjoyed the most, but really speaking, is not. And that is the meaning of the example of this camel. In the similar way, if we give our way out to enjoy illusions only, you'll dream, you'll keep dreaming. Another famous word Prabhupada uses is phantasmagoria. I don't know how many of you have heard that word. Phantasmagoria means a land of fantasy, which appears above your head, and you keep dreaming. And you keep that television right in your eyes and keep dreaming. Just like in your house, you have a television when you want to see. This is all the televisions, they have the remote. You press the button and you see what you want to see. In a similar way, in your dream, you simply are dreaming, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I can have this. I wish I can become like this. This is all nothing but a phantasmagoria. But as soon as one surrenders to Krishna, then this illusion goes. Now remember, when you are in a dream, which is very similar to when you are under the influence of false ego, the result will be only I and mine. For example, you see any dream, whether it's a good dream or a bad dream, one person is always there, and that is you. In every dream, you are there, and you are doing something in that dream. If it's a good dream, you wake up very happily. If it's a nightmare, you wake up when you are already sweating, fearful, and worried, full of fear. So both the dreams are no good. Dreams are only dreams, they're not reality. Whereas devotional service is reality. In pure consciousness, you will be dreaming also. It's not that it's not a dream. Even the path of bhakti is also another kind of maya. But that maya is the maya of Krishna. That is called Antaranga Shakti, or the internal energy of Krishna. Even bhakti, you dream. You dream in many, many ways. That you are with Krishna, you want to play kirtan for Krishna, you want to serve Krishna, you want to sit next to Krishna, you want to touch the feet of Krishna. That dream is not bad. Very healthy dream. So in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says, only in pure consciousness, there will be no such misconceived dream. You will have a new dream. And in that state, you will not forget Krishna. You will always remember Krishna. It means you are with Krishna. Anyone who has studied the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita properly, Krishna explains this feature as Paramatma. And if you know this feature, Paramatma, then you'll know that you are never alone. You are always with Krishna. So you should always be with Krishna. Remain his eternal servitor in loving him on a very highest, best possible way. In the second chapter, it says, unmotivated and uninterrupted way. That is called parodharma. Savai pumsham parodharma. Yato bhakti yadokshake ahituki apratiyata yayatma shuprasiddhati. That the highest kind of religion or dharma is to engage in his service without any motive and without interpretations, and this will satisfy your very self. And that is called Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not just dharma, it is parodharma. Because the effect of worshipping Krishna or practicing Krishna is you'd feel satisfied at your heart. So this Srila Prabhupada is explaining is in this point. But the main point is, it is upon us whether to stay in the dream with Krishna or in the materialistic dream without Krishna. Very simple. You have to, you can't live without desiring. Desires create dreams in the mind. So Krishna consciousness will also create dreams, which are very, very favorable. And you can actually dream even in daytime, thinking of Krishna. So when you engage in devotional service, you are dreaming that you are serving Krishna and you want to go on serving Krishna. This is called a Krishna conscious life. Srila Prabhupada says, the advantage of taking up Krishna consciousness is that Krishna takes care of you personally. And he says this in Bhagavad Gita in several verses. That I am with you. With you means if you are a devotee, he will be with you by your side all the time and help you. But sometimes, even if you are ignorant, not knowledgeable, and you are making mistakes, Krishna will not mind, provided you don't forget him. Just like a kind father does not mind sometimes when his son or his child makes some mistakes. He lets go. Okay, you did it this time, don't do it again. And he explains how it is done. So this is the advantage one gets if one is always remembering Krishna. And remembrance of Krishna is facilitated by hearing and chanting. If you hear Bhagavad Gita, hear Bhagavatam daily, then you'll feel like chanting daily. And when you chant daily, the effect of chanting daily is you remember Krishna daily. Now, in the beginning, you'll have to use the force, but later on it becomes naturally fitted in your daily lifestyle. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for today's session. Prabhuji, so we were initially with Krishna, but because we wanted to load over, we were sent over here. We wanted to be Krishna and we were sent here. Now we have realized that we made a mistake, and we now know our constitutional position. So now we'll go back to Krishna, hopefully one day. Will we not make the same mistake again now?
No. You won't make that mistake. Now, originally, when you say you're with Krishna, it does not mean that you are in Vaikuntha. It can be in any upper planet. You almost went to Krishna, and then you thought that let me become like Krishna. That's why you fell down. Because whoever goes to Vaikuntha does not come back. And Prabhupada says in many purposes, don't worry and don't even ask, were you with Krishna? Think of your present position that you have fallen. Try to stand up. Stand up, rise, call upon Krishna, cry for Krishna. Chanting means crying for Krishna. Krishna, help me, take me. That fifth prayer of Shastakam. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitanam vishame bhavama buddho. In that verse, if you put the English translation, it says, O son of Nanda Maharaj, somehow or other I have fallen into this material world or in darkness. Kindly pick me up and place me as an atom at your lotus feet. This should be our constant prayer or our feeling. If you keep that feeling, Krishna will help you. But you have to do the calling. If you don't call, how will he respond to you?
That's good to know that we weren't with Krishna. We were in some other higher planet. So
yeah,
so
could be
now
even in Brahmaloka. Could be even in Brahmaloka. Very close to Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Any other questions or comments from the group?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the thing is that we also know that one in many lectures we can heard that one. When we come to the Krishna consciousness and try to become servant of Krishna, then Krishna also reciprocate like the same way. Jo jathamam prapadyante tam sutava, like that one. And he giving the opportunity, even we come to the one step, Krishna also coming 100 steps like that. But we understand or we realize that when we progress also in bhakti, so many obstacles also came. So, but Krishna is giving the opportunity, but where is the obstacles came? And sometimes we do mistake and we forgot also Krishna, this one, that one. Why happened that one?
Okay, obstacles have to come. And more obstacles, more better. You know why? Because it's able to mold you, molding. It's able to strengthen you completely to return back home in this life. So if a devotee gets problem, it's good for him. Because that is going to shape him, mold him. And obstacles are given. One way is first is to test you. Even on a higher level, Krishna does not leave you. To make you more conscious of Krishna, he'll give you more trouble. So do not take obstacles to be like wrong, Krishna doing wrong to you, no. Take them, even those obstacles, in a very favorable way. Maybe my mistake was there. Maybe one of my karmas have been left over. That's why Krishna is punishing me. And devotee does not stay in those problems. Remember that. He soon comes out of it. And he engages more better than before. It means is able to actually make us more perfect, purify you more. For example, if you take gold from the gold ore, it's coated with mud inside. So you have to heat many, many times till it becomes pure gold. Otherwise, it's not pure gold because there is some ore inside, ore of impurities. More you heat, more it becomes purified. So don't be shaken up, don't be worried, and don't deviate from Krishna consciousness if you get problems. It is the problems which is actually going to purify your mind, your intelligence, even your senses, and bring you closer to Krishna. Yeah?
Okay.
So you'll find that more obstacles are actually given by Maya. Krishna tells, okay, give more trouble. It's the work of Maya. Because when you go close, very close to Krishna, even Maya becomes more stronger. Before, Maya is not very strong. But when you become a devotee, the Maya becomes very strong. She wants to make sure whether you are serious in Krishna consciousness or not. Okay?
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Also, I can ask you one question. You tell me one devotee who reached a very high level if he didn't have any problem in his life. You tell me. Every devotee gets a problem. Every. Didn't Prabhupada get problems? Read Prabhupada Lila. Even while he was in India, he had problems. In the ship, he had problems. Even when he reached America, he had problems. And even after establishing ISKCON, it's not that he didn't have problems. There are problems. But his firm faith in his spiritual master and the holy name kept him going strong and strong and strong. So this is what we should learn from Srila Prabhupada himself.
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody has any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then we can end up here.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your nice and wonderful class. Also, thank all the devotees who are joining here in this Bhagavatam forum. I request everyone, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for glorification of His grace, Rukma Prabhuji. Please join.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha kalpatarubyascha
Srila Prabhupada Jai. His grace Rukma Prabhuji Jai.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.